Remember when people used to make fun of Attack on Titan for not being able to draw hands? Hand.
We're not in sync.
No.
I have watched this scene like 10 times at least.
Same.
Yes.
Oh, Japanese.
Do you watch for subs
Hi.
or dubs?
Of course, subs, of course.
The nostalgia is hitting me hard.
I'm just already simping.
That is so epic.
It's so nice with the shading. Is
Like this entire thing. Impact.
Dynamic.
maybe it's just me, but season 3 of Attack on Titan was definitely the best. I'm just saying.
I didn't like Levi that much beforehand, but this made me love him.
Every time I talk about good animation, I bring up the scene and I show it to people.
This gets so hyped.
Yeah, no kidding. Every time I talk about like goals in having a boyfriend, I bring up this scene.
Me too.
The entire storyboarding of this.
Also with the background and like all of the
flowing through
perspectives.
everything under.
And it's so smart with how they use the environment. I mean,
Exactly.
it's not
Yeah.
even just like characters interacting, it's characters interacting
Yeah, but
with
just
the environment.
the environment and the camera work and everything.
Child him looked like Elle.
That's true.
This is the coolest shot. Like, come on.
This
This
scene,
shot
this,
is-
yes.
It's great. Oh.
The push perspective too, and the ending. This is just so smooth.
These characters, they're humans, but they look like Titans. I don't know, spoiler.
Meanwhile, you have the loop animation of the character in the background going.
And the nice pause after all the action to like give you a bit of a breather.
Bit of the-
You little rodent is such a nice insult.
This scene was meme to hell.
Like his poses.
Iconic pose. God.
I love the humor in Attack on Titan.
You also wouldn't expect it because it's always so like serious.
Yeah.
And now we are back to the one frame for like 5-6 seconds.
Yeah. Is he based on like a character that already exists? Jack the Ripper? Billy the Kid? I don't know.
I'm not even listening to this guy. He just has a nice voice.
I just really liked how Levi like solves this.
Also this scene with using your brain. I want this to happen more in Attack on Titan. or in anime in general.
So using your surroundings to fight is always.
Yes!
That's so cool! Fucking badass right there.
Would that
sorry.
actually work? Using a chair as actual, because in a game it works because you have like a hitbox, so you could put the hitbox in front of you. And
I mean, I've never been a Levi stan, but god dang it.
If there's one clip to convert you, that's it.
Yeah.
He just fucking slaughters everybody.
That's the clip I used to convince my friend to watch Attack on Titan. I was like, okay, if you, I mean, you should.
This was the Levi versus Kenny scene from Attack on Titan, an anime based on the manga by Hajime Isayama. The key animator for the chasing scene was Arifumi Imai. The scene itself is a mix between 2D character animation and 3D environments.
oh, that's epic.
Wow.
That's
Jesus Christ.
so cool.
The storyboard's like, okay, where do you start?
You need such like line precision to do this.
It's on twos, but on the second frame they take it and like slightly move it to make it seem more fluid.
I also imagine it must be a pain to work in anime if the character designs are so detailed. Like when you look at all of like the buckles and
Yes.
straps he's wearing.
And how it blends so well with the CG backdrop
The
as well.
poses, it just blows my mind that people can draw this well.
This is so cliche with the lines on the sides. In anime, they're often used to make pictures that like don't actually move, seem like more stuff is happening than is actually happening. Or it can also be to help make like the movement more dynamic.
Sometimes it's also just there to lead the eye to where it should go.
This is like my favorite shot. Throws the sword again, foreshortening, and then it like whirs past the camera.
Yeet!
Oh, that was nice. The slow on the anticipation. Like,
I mean, his arm goes from here, like it stays there for a long time, and then it just goes.
yeet.
Where even is
Down
his
there.
arm? It's like this, I guess.
Oh,
But that's a nice
cool.
clear.
What is nice in this shot is the way his sword, like this arc.
And like the face not moving that much while everything else is moving extremely like helps that we can concentrate on something. We realize the movement, but we can still look at the face.
The cape and everything, it makes it so dynamic. Like, even if it's just a still frame, you see the force in there and the physics in there.
It's so fast too, like the cutting pace is so quick.
This is essentially like the shot that makes us go like, something cool is about to happen.
This is where they put in the budget. Here we see again something that's very common in like fight scenes in 2D animation, where the character moves on twos, but the background moves on ones, which makes the action like seem more smooth.
I am just mad. Yeah, pushed perspective, speed lines. It's so cool how the camera is interacting with this shot.
This rooftop, it is 3D, but it's so well integrated.
If you look at the tiles here, they're fucking ginormous. Yeah, the size relation between Levi and the roof is like all over the place, but it gives the effect of like the roof being longer, so he has more time to like slide down the roof.
But like in animation, you have a greater suspension of disbelief, so you don't notice that something isn't quite adding up.
That's with like a lot of in-between. People on the internet love to go and like pick them apart and be like, oh, in Naruto, it looks like so weird. In actuality, it isn't. You're not supposed to pause, you're supposed to see it.
Like we're doing right now.
It looks like the tiles are gigantic.
They do like to play with size differences.
Because they get super close to the tiles, so they're not going to change the environment. The tiles are going to be big, but the character can't just change size that drastically.
I love this. Foreshortening.
Foreshortening just means if you like hold your arm into a camera, obviously your hand is gonna be bigger because of the perspective. When you draw that, you need to construct the perspective and the anatomy.
Remember when people used to make fun of Attack on Titan for not being able to draw hands?
Hand. We use the darker sides of the building and the bright sky to have the lines lead our eye where we need to see.
The contrast and brightness leads the eye towards him.
I love when in dynamic action, character goes from far away to the camera to close to the camera and slows down.
It's a constant back and forth too.
Yeah, like before he was up
all
here,
the time.
and then comes down here so you can see his expression, and then he goes
yeet, bye-bye.
Also, that is just so smooth. Did you see that art? I could cry.
His pose also supports a line of action. Everything goes in this direction.
How would you go on about getting references for this?
You're just very good at animating.
You're just very brain.
Yes, very big brain.
The way he turns is so cool.
Yeah, like the
Wire, the way it kind of slings every time they like shoot it. But it's crazy. Like the wire wouldn't do this shit, but it looks nice.
Every time they use the 3D maneuver gear, they're like, nice VFX.
The guy who like animates him, he also did the keyframes for the
We saw that in the
VFX.
video, right?
Yeah, the brain power. There's so many different visual effects. They all move like in different ways and like different speeds and stuff.
This is 3D background, right?
Yeah, okay. The texture is like super.
Yeah.
You can see it, but like.
I like how it's done. It's still visible, but not very uncanny.
Yeah, that's true.
Not as uncanny as, for example, like Atlantis, the submarine or something.
Yeah, it is interesting to see how low poly this stuff is. It's literally just a cube. I could probably do this environment without the texturing.
They do not have a lot of time to do it. I mean, this is still like an anime production, right?
I love how the wires are like just this line of light.
I mean, generally Attack on Titan, shading is really, really crazy.
It's fairly detailed. Look at the wrinkles, like all that stuff is there. It's not just like a flat shirt.
But like the first thing that you cut in animation if you're short on budget or time is shadows. And for them to have this many levels of shadows consistently, lots of work.
I also like how his style just shines through this one. So his face here looks so different than here. Yeah, it looks very different.
In 2D, you have model sheets or character sheets. And this is like the base of how you draw a character. You have that because it's very difficult during animating to stay in character. And in this scene, I mean, it doesn't bother us because it's so fast.
Yeah.
Here it's more about the pacing, right? And then in like scenes where they talk and it's like calmer, then it's more important to stay on model.
He's like on twos, right? The background itself is moving on ones. You do that because otherwise it would look choppy and weird.
All the lines leading into where he's gonna go, and these lines here leading towards him.
Again, like with arcs around and supports like how dynamic the pose is.
Composition is very important.
Because else like you don't understand anything that's happening.
I thought it was maybe intentional, so I went back to check. So like he turns and then he goes to the right,
yeah.
and
Nice, yeah.
then suddenly he's going to
Yep.
the left. But they might also have done that like on purpose. Usually you would go in the same direction because otherwise it confuses the viewer. I mean, people do this intentionally if they want to confuse the viewer
Yeah,
or if
yeah.
they want things to seem off.
Like
kilter.
rules, like you learn the rules and then you break them.
You first see Levi, and then when he goes into the sun, for many, many frames, you see this shadow. Like it holds for so many frames so that the audience can recognize it themselves. And then a 180-degree shift happens, but while the audience eyes is still focused on this shadow, our eye is still on this view. So I think it's not as disorienting. Currently, you see me on the left, Lena on the right. So if we would take this camera and position it in the completely other side, where it jumps over this imaginary line. That's a 180-degree break. Now I am on the right side. She's on the left side. See him going currently into the right direction with his head on the right side. And then 180-degree rule break, he goes to the left side with his head on the left side. But it works because our eye is focused on Kenny and not on Levi.
It shows like how important staging is. Here you have to like clearly communicate to the audience what is happening. The most important thing you need to see is Kenny, but also Levi's expression.
It's so fun to like.
He looks like
2D
a cat
animation,
jumping.
like,
It's so fast you can't see any
yeah.
inconsistencies. This. There's nothing in between, he's just doing a 180.
Playing is so gigantic.
Yeah, what the hell?
shit.
This is not, I mean, and still it doesn't bother us when watching
is-
it.
Like I've watched it so often, but I've never noticed how the board goes down because his weight is on it, like propels him upwards.
Is that Gwen Stacy? It's like a horror anime, the way like he started crawling towards the camera.
I love the spiral of the wire.
Because of how the shot is lined up, this is also where you look, so you know this is where Levi is going. Like even with the stretch here, I mean, look at his leg. Look at tiny
Long
foot.
boy,
Tiny,
short no more.
Tiny baby foot.
The way he like enters,
Oh.
it's so cool. Look at this animation, so nice. This stuff is so nice. It's like a gun barrel.
Oh,
This is really smart because of the hook. It's a lot faster. If the hook wasn't there and his foot would only be here, it wouldn't feel as fast. Also, I mean, the spacing of Levi going from here to here.
I'm sure you'll find a Titan that has exactly this
Yeah.
face, but I think it's interesting. And then sometimes I see real life people and I'm like,
I wanna
you
see
look
it.
like a Titan too.
That's so typical for anime though. It's like one moment you have the sickest animation and the next you either have still frames or loops. He looks so scared though, but he just goes. I just want to look at it again.
The whole thing?
Yes.
The whole thing.
Okay,
Yeah, no, that's it.
thank you for watching.
Thank you.